Hey, hi there, Troy here. So, what's on today's agenda? Well, today's agenda, we're going to be starting doing a little book study. I know you may not have the book, but I have the book. And what we're going to do is sort of get a little highlights, get some highlights of each chapter, throw a question or two at you, and sort of see where things go. So, today's book is actually the last book I picked up that I was reading, and it is by Wayne Jacobsen, and it's called He Loves Me. See this? That's what it looks like. Got a cute little flower on it. Got a guy holding his baby up in the air. It's it's so cute. Just needs a kitten in there. I know, a little cynical. Yeah. But anyways, so He Loves Me by Wayne Jacobsen is our first order of business today. Now then, hold on here. All right, so here we are. We have chapter 1. And chapter 1 is entitled Daisy Petal Christianity. And it has a little thing at the top here, a little saying at the top, he loves me not, he loves me not. Sure you can relate to that. It starts off, he writes that, a little girl is in the backyard chanting as she plucks petals, one by one from a daisy and drops them to the ground. At the game's end, the last petal tells all whether or not the person desired returns their affections. I'm sure you played that game when you were a kid at some point in time, pulling petals off flowers. And if you don't get the answer you want at the end, what do? You pick up another flower. The problem is, now, the author goes on and is describing that this is how a lot of us tend to view our relationship with God, based upon circumstance and things going on in our lives. He mentions that, how does he put this? He says, I got a raise, he loves me. I didn't get a promotion, he loves me not. Something inspired me today, he loves me. My kid's ill, he loves me not. I gave money to someone, he loves me. I let my anger get the best of me, he loves me not. And so on and so on and so on. Now, obviously, basing our relationship with anybody or anything on how we feel in the moment with regards to circumstances is not necessarily a good thing. And when we're talking about our relationship with God, obviously that becomes a real problem. Now, there's going to be little hesitations here and there, and that's just me pausing so that you don't see me fumbling through the pages of the book, okay? Got to maintain some level of professionalism, all right? So the author has gone on and has listed a number of things in their life and things that have happened to them. That their house was robbed, they were in an accident, their father-in-law died, they didn't know where their next paycheck was coming from, and all these different things, and it all made them wonder, does God love me? And the author has gone on that says that my disappointment with God could easily turn in two directions, often in pain and frustration when I felt as I had done enough to deserve better. I would rail at God like Job of old, accusing him of being either unfair or unloving. In more honest moments, however, I was well aware of the temptations and failures that could exclude me from his care. I lived for 34 years as a believer on this perilous tightrope. Even when there was no crisis hanging over my head, I was always wary of the next one God might drop on me at any second if I didn't dare stay on his good side. In some ways, I'd become like a schizophrenic child, never certain of what God I'd meet at any given day. The one that would scoop me up in his arms, or the one would ignore me or punish me for reasons that I could never understand. Only in the last 12 years did I discover that my method of discerning God's love was flawed as pulling petals from a daisy. And I haven't been the same since. It says, what about you? Have you ever felt tossed back and forth by circumstances, occasionally certain but almost certainly uncertain about how the creator of the universe feels about you? Well, I think we probably all can relate to that at one point in time or another. It's easy to look at our lives when things are going well and say, oh, I'm loved and I'm protected, I'm this and that, and he's always there. But then when things just go, phew, it's like, where are you? Why are you doing this? What did I do? Oh my, you start analyzing your own behaviors, wondering, what did I do to fall out of God's grace? Like, somehow we're promised a perfect life, right? I mean, you don't have to be a Christian to understand being promised a perfect life isn't going to happen. Not in this lifetime anyway, right? True story. I mean, Jesus said we're promised trouble, right? He wasn't kidding. Anyways, moving on. So author continues in chapter 1. He says our perception is not necessarily reality. If we define God only in our limited interpretation of our own circumstances, we'll never discover who he really is. He does love you more deeply than you've ever imagined. He has done so throughout your entire life. And once you embrace that truth, your troubles will never again drive you to question God's affection for you or whether you've done enough to merit it. Instead of fearing that he has turned his back on you, you'll be able to trust his love at the moments you need him the most. You will see how that love can flow out of you in the strangest ways to touch you in a world that is starved for it. Interesting stuff, eh? Not bad for a first chapter. So, we got a couple little questions that pop up at the end here. Now, this one here says it's for your personal journey, and the question is just kind of in general here. How often do you find yourself doubting God's love for you? When do you question his love the most? How certain are you that God loves you as deeply as he does anyone else in the world? When difficulties arise, do you find yourself doubting God's love for you or trying to be more righteous so he'll like you more? The days ahead, ask God to reveal the depths of his love for you. And thus brings us to the end of our first chapter. I know, a little rough for first start, but these things always do kind of start rough. Anyways, I will be, obviously you can't comment anything on the YouTube, but on my social media, if you want to comment anything or message me directly or something, we can certainly do that. And we will endeavor to pop up sometime in the next several days and continue with chapter 2. Because oddly enough, there's more than one chapter in the book. See? Whole bunch of book. Only a little tiny bit done. Alright, anyways, hope everybody is doing well. Take care, and we'll talk to you again. Alright? Cool. God bless.